been the most impossible video ever to shoot. I've had the kids screaming and yelling, kids come in 2 or 3 times. I've had the memory card on my camera fill up, and I had the battery die. So I'm surprised the baby is not crying like a crazy baby.
Hey everybody, so I am back and I'm here to introduce you to the newest member of our family. This is our new baby girl and her name is Avia Joy. She was born July 6th and her due date, or my due date, was July 4th. So she was actually 2 days past her due date. And for those of you who followed me through any of my pregnancy vlogs, then you'll know that this is my 5th baby, and how crazy it is that she was as late as she was, considering it was my 5th baby. I mentioned before that I've pretty much gone early with all of my pregnancies. Now, it was always a little bit odd though, because I went the earliest with my first, and then I kind of went a little bit later and later with each pregnancy. My last pregnancy, I was a couple of days shy of my due date, and you know, the joke was that I would be late with this one, just to kind of follow the trend I was on, and sure enough I was, and I truly, like, honestly thought that I was going to be early. I had gone in for my OB appointments, and after being checked, like, I was getting examined and I was having ultrasounds and like internal exams and everything, and everybody was convinced that I was going to go early. And so it wasn't just, you know, like wishful thinking. She was head down super early in the pregnancy, and then she her head was engaged, I would say at about 35 weeks. Her head was already engaged and super low. Every time I got examined, the doctor was kind of like asking me if I, you know, was experiencing any other symptoms that were, you know, that was pointing to me potentially going into labor. And, you know, they were kind of like, well, you need to be ready to go anytime. And it went on and on and on. It was late at night on I guess it was the 5th, yeah. And me and my husband were just on the couch. We were just watching some TV before bed, and it was about 11:30, and I was starting to get really tired, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna go get ready to go to bed. And literally, like, seconds after I said that, I kind of felt a gush, and I thought, okay, I'm pretty sure my water's broke. And I just kind of got up and I went to the bathroom, and I kind of just like waited for a while to see, you know, if it continued. I went out to the family room where he still was, and I was kind of like, my water just broke. We headed off to the hospital, and at that point I wasn't really experiencing any contractions. So we got to the hospital and got checked in and everything like that. They kind of just let me hang out for about 2 hours, then they came back and checked me, and I was starting to get contractions at that point, and they were getting, I mean, they were pretty steady, and they were still like bearable, but they were steady. And at that point I was only measuring like 4 centimeters, which again was like crazy, because my last labor from start to finish was like under an hour. So when they said I was just 4 centimeters, I was literally like, oh brother. So my biggest concern was that I wasn't going to be able to get, let me make sure you guys can see her because she's so cute. So my biggest concern was that I wasn't going to be able to get the epidural, because I definitely wanted the epidural. I have had 2 pregnancies with and 2 pregnancies without, and I definitely wanted to go with it. The last pregnancy went so fast that I had no option. They could not give me the epidural because everything just progressed too quickly. So we had already discussed that, you know, as soon as possible they would give it to me, just because we wouldn't know if that window of time would pass. So even though I was only 4 centimeters and, you know, the contractions were still bearable, the doctor decided to go ahead and give me the epidural.
Okay, I'm back. We had kids not wanting to go to bed. You can still hear them crying. Or you can still hear one crying. Really, there's always one kid crying. That's pretty normal around.
Back to what I was saying. Yeah, so even though I was only 4 centimeters, the doctor decided he would go ahead and give me the epidural just to be sure that I had. So when they give you the epidural, they put the catheter in your back, and I guess there's like no guarantee that the catheter, or I don't know, the medicine or whatever, is gonna go in like completely down the center of your back. Sometimes I guess it can kind of go off a little to one side or another, but that happened with me. And so when I started getting like the pain medicine, it was mostly going to my right side, and so I was pretty much like completely numb down my whole right side, and I could still feel the contractions on my left side. But you don't really want to be like 100% numb, because then when it comes time to push, it actually can make things more difficult, because you don't feel your contractions, and you can't even feel the sensation of like trying to push. And so sometimes it kind of drags things out a bit. So anyway, I couldn't feel a thing. Like it was kind of like bothersome. Like I couldn't lift my leg. It was just like bad. I would say after about an hour, I just couldn't take it anymore. Like, which again, I know sounds bizarre, but I couldn't take like how numb I was feeling on the one side. So I asked them to take me off of the epidural, because it would take about 15 or 20 minutes for it to even like start to wear off at all. So they were going to take me off just long enough that it would wear off a bit, and so I would be able to regain a little more sensation on my like right side, and then they could kind of give it to me again slowly. The contractions that I was feeling on my left side were like really, really bad, and I was getting them really frequently and super strong, where I was still like kind of having to breathe through them, and like they were pretty painful still. And I still hadn't gotten any feeling back on my right side. Like it had done nothing. Like they kept asking me, well, do you feel better now? And I was like, no. Like I was completely still like numb. So I was like, okay, you need to just put the epidural back on, because, you know, like I was feeling too much on the left side. It was crazy. Anyway, they put the epidural back on, and again, it was going to take like another, you know, 15-20 minutes for it to like kick back in, because I could feel it. It was weird. I could feel it wearing off on the left side, but not on the right side. So anyway, from the time that I was 4 centimeters until all this other stuff happened, it was probably less than an hour. And then I was pretty sure that I was going to have to push like soon, because I could feel the pressure, and I could feel the contractions getting stronger, and I just felt like I was just gonna have to push. So they called the doctor, or well, no, actually the nurse was like, okay, I can check you before we call the doctor. And I kind of think they kind of like thought that maybe like I wasn't as far along as I was sort of implying that I thought I was, just because it happened so quick. She checked me, and sure enough, I was just like 10 centimeters. And so they called, you know, they're like paging the doctor and getting everything ready, and that's when everything starts going crazy, because there's like 50 million people in the room, and everybody's getting everything ready and fixing the bed and getting all the stuff for the baby. And I'm like, I remember just like asking like, how long is the doctor going to take to get here, because like I need to push like right now. So anyway, he showed up, and I started pushing, and I would say it probably took about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or so, 10 to 15 minutes.
Alright, that was kid interruption number 2.
Okay, so I'm pushing the baby out. Oh. Yes, it took about 10 to 15 minutes from start to finish to get this little pumpkin out. And Not that that's a long time, because it's not, but honestly, usually it's like, I usually push these babies out in like under 5 minutes because I've had just about enough of the whole experience. So yeah, that was like one of the longest times I think it's taken me to push, but I would say it's mostly because of the whole like no sensation in half my body feeling. So like, even though I could feel, like I said, the contractions on the one side, it was like really weird, like trying to gauge, because I could feel a little bit but not so much. And yeah, she was born at 9:39 a.m. She was 7 pounds 9 ounces, so she was a nice size. Yeah, I think that's a good size for being overdue too. I don't think we would have wanted much bigger than that. And she was healthy, and everything pretty much went really well. Like, there was no, like there were no complications, and I was good, she was good. It was just really great. Like, we waited a long time for her, and it was such a great moment. Mike got to cut the cord during the actual birth. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of commotion. It was just very quiet and calm, and it was a really nice moment. And the minute she was born, they placed her on my chest, and I got to hold her, and the doctor just kind of did the stuff that he had to do, and like, they didn't just whisk her away. I've had situations too where they kind of give you a glimpse of the baby, but then they pretty much like whisk them away and start doing their stuff with the baby. And they didn't do that. I got to hold her for quite a long time before they took her to do all her checkups and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I had her that morning, and I basically just kind of stayed there the one day. Like, I stayed there the rest of that day, obviously, and then spent the one night. And I mean, I was recovering, really well. I was pretty much up and out of bed, I would say by late afternoon. I probably would have been up sooner, but like, seriously guys, it took until like, I don't know, like 1 in the afternoon before I got like full feeling back on the one side of my body. She was doing great. She roomed in with me the whole time, and she's just a really easy baby. She's been easy from the very start. I've been really lucky that way with all my babies, actually. They just basically eat, sleep, and poop. And most of the time I have to wake them up at night to even feed them. The kids are like beyond happy. The only thing they're jealous of is how much time the next kid gets holding her. So there's fights about that, but I guess if you're gonna have fights, those are good fights to have. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just wanted to kind of fill everybody in on all that labor and delivery and birth stuff. So I hope that kind of gave you all some insight. Before we go, I'll give you a quick little close-up of her, because she's so much cuter when you see her in person. Look at her, isn't she so cute? She's so adorable and little. She got long fingers too. I think she's going to be a piano player. She got long feet too. You can't see them so much in the jammies, but holy cow, she's got big feet. She got big feet like me. There's our little Avia Joy. We're just so happy, and we're so in love with her. She's a sweetie pie. Aren't you? You're a sweetie pie. Stay tuned for some more baby videos, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, because there's more to come. So anyway, thanks again for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!